What if everything you've been taught about love is based on fiction? And it's the reason she keeps slipping away, no matter how good of a man you try to be. What if women don't fall for who you are, but for what they feel when they're around you, even if they can't explain why? What if becoming unforgettable has less to do with being impressive and everything to do with understanding emotional gravity? Most men are navigating love based on a script that doesn't match reality, because from a young age, we're told that women fall for the man who's kind, successful, polite, and charming. So we grow up trying to be exactly that: the gentleman, the provider, the always available nice guy who checks every box. But then something strange happens. We do everything right and still get left behind. And it doesn't make sense until you realize this one truth: women don't love logically. They don't love you for your title, your income, or how often you say yes to their needs. They fall based on emotional electricity, unconscious currents that move below the surface. And if you don't know how to reach that layer, how to stir that internal reaction, then no matter how perfect you are on paper, she'll drift. Because real connection doesn't begin in her mind, it begins in her nervous system. And this is where most good men lose without even realizing it. Because they think showing up consistently and speaking all the right words is the path to her heart. But it's not. The path is presence, emotional command, and the ability to hold your energy so still that she feels safe, curious, and drawn in without understanding why. And when you master that, when you learn to speak to her emotional world with your calm, your pace, your silence, not your explanations, that's when she feels something she didn't see coming, and she doesn't want to let it go. That's not manipulation, it's self-mastery. And the best part is, it's learnable. And once you shift from chasing her attention to shaping her experience, you stop trying to be chosen and start becoming the man she chooses instinctively, the one she can't explain but can't walk away from either. Here's a hard truth most men never hear. She doesn't fall in love with you. She falls in love with how she feels when she's with you. It's not your face, your job title, or even your personality checklist. It's the emotional imprint you leave behind. The feeling that lingers after the date ends, after the conversation fades, after the silence settles. That's what stays. And that's what she remembers. Emotional imprinting isn't some abstract concept. It's the reason why two men can do the same thing, say the same words, and only one of them lives rent-free in her mind. Because while you're trying to impress her with logic, status, or effort, someone else is triggering something deeper, something she feels but can't explain. And when those feelings are intense enough, when they make her laugh, wonder, pause, melt, or dream, that's when she becomes attached. Not to facts, but to feeling. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who wasn't conventionally attractive, maybe even rough around the edges, but they had a presence that made people lean in, made women light up, made rooms feel different just because they walked in? That's the power of emotional energy. And you don't need to be flashy or perfect to have it. You just need to stop relying on logic to win hearts. Because she's not weighing your value like a job interview. She's experiencing you, moment by, and wondering why it's taking so long. And then comes the anxiety, the doubt, the temptation to text again. Because maybe she forgot, maybe she's busy, or maybe she's pulling away. Now flip the script. Have you ever had someone who was always available, always said yes, always replied instantly? Did that make your heart race, or did it make you feel nothing? Here's what most men miss. Women are wired for emotional anticipation. They don't crave constant access. They crave curiosity, the not knowing, the slow build. And when you're always around, always responding, always one step behind her, it kills the very thing you're trying to create, the spark. Because we don't value what we have unlimited access to. We value what we have to earn, what we might lose, what we can't fully figure out. So if she knows she has you, fully, easily, without effort, her emotions relax. And when curiosity fades, so does attraction. That's why the man who leads with presence, not pursuit, becomes unforgettable. He's not avoiding her. He's just already living. His life is full. His time is intentional. And when she enters that world, it feels earned. It feels valuable. Not because he made it about her, but because she had to rise to meet him. So ask yourself, are you showing up to impress, or are you showing up for yourself first? Because the man who stops chasing doesn't lose women, he just stops losing himself. Let's clear something up once and for all. Women don't leave the nice guy because he's nice. They leave because he lacks weight, edge, and presence. Being kind, respectful, thoughtful, those are strengths. But when kindness becomes compliance, when respect turns into fear of conflict, when you agree with everything just to avoid rocking the boat, you stop being a man and start becoming an emotional cushion. And no woman wants to fall in love with something soft that can't hold her when things get heavy. You see, when a woman says she wants a nice guy, what she really wants is a man who is kind without being spineless, who can say no without raising his voice, who can set a boundary without breaking the connection. She wants to feel that when the world starts spinning, you don't, because she will test you. Not because she's cruel, but because she needs to know you won't collapse under emotional pressure. She needs to feel that your identity doesn't depend on her approval, that you're rooted in something deeper than her mood. Think of it this way. Would you trust a leader who flinches every time he's questioned? Would you respect someone who changes their mind every time you push? Neither would she. Women crave the stillness of a man who holds his line, who holds his truth, who holds his peace. That's what makes her relax. That's what lets her lean in. Because when she knows you won't be shaken, she can finally let go. So don't try to be the guy who says all the right things. Be the guy who lives from the right place. A place of centered, calm, quiet strength. That's not just attractive. That's what she's been searching for. Here's a truth that hits hard, but frees you once you understand it. Women don't fall in love with who you really are. They fall in love with the version of you they've created in their mind. That version isn't built on your resume, your best intentions, or how much effort you put in. It's built through perception. Hers, and her perception is shaped by everything she's lived through. Her past relationships, her emotional wounds, her expectations, her fantasies, and even her fears. So when she meets you, she doesn't see all of you. She sees you through a lens. And that lens isn't fixed. It shifts, it updates, it reacts to how you show up. This is where most men lose the game. They assume effort equals clarity, that if they're honest, present, and consistent, she'll see their value. But perception doesn't care about fairness. It's emotional, not logical. So here's the question. Are you shaping that lens or letting it shape itself? Because if you're not actively guiding how she experiences you, her mind will fill in the blanks without you. And more often than not, that leads to being misunderstood, overlooked, or taken for granted. Attraction isn't about being fully available or perfectly explained. It's about creating emotional contrast. Presence and distance, depth and silence, certainty and mystery. When she always knows what you'll say, what you'll do, and how you'll react, there's nothing left for her to feel. Curiosity dies, emotion flatlines. But when you give her layers to unfold, when your presence feels earned, not guaranteed, she leans in. She replays moments. She assigns meaning to your silences. And that, right there, is the moment you become unforgettable. Because in love, it's not the man who shows the most. It's the man who understands that reality matters far less than the way she experiences it. Shape the frame, and you shape the feeling. Let me tell you something that most men overlook. What keeps a woman isn't wild passion, constant praise, or grand gestures. What makes her stay is emotional safety. It's that steady, unspoken feeling that says, I'm okay here. I can trust this. You see, women aren't just emotionally expressive. They're emotionally fluid. Their inner world shifts like tides, sometimes for reasons even they can't explain. One moment she's open, the next she's guarded. And no, it's not drama, it's biology. She's wired for emotional movement. So what is she really looking for? A man who doesn't get pulled in with the tide. A man who doesn't react to every wave. She doesn't need you to fix her, to explain her, or to match her mood. She needs you to hold still when she can't. That's where true strength lies, not in stoic silence or emotional distance, but in calm, present, grounded leadership. The man who earns her trust is the one who stays centered when things get chaotic, who listens without panicking, who says little but means everything. Because when she tests you, and she will, it's not to push you away, it's to find out if you're solid enough to stay. And when you pass that test, when you prove that you won't crumble under the weight of her feelings, something shifts. She drops her guard. She opens up. She bonds. Because now she knows, this is someone I can lean on. And that is rare. In a world that moves fast and feels unstable, she's not looking for the loudest guy in the room. She's looking for the one who doesn't flinch when storms come. And if you become that man, the one who leads with calm instead of control, who holds space instead of judgment, she won't just stay. She'll stay deeply connected because she won't want to feel that safe anywhere else. Attraction isn't about trying harder. It's not about doing more, saying more, or bending over backwards to be liked. Real attraction begins the moment you stop needing to be chosen and start living as someone who's already chosen himself. Most men think the key to keeping her is constant effort, constant validation, constant presence. But the truth is, what keeps her isn't your effort, it's your energy. It's the way you carry yourself when you don't need her approval, when you live with direction, when you lead with calm. That kind of presence doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't perform, it just is. And women feel it instantly. Because when you're grounded in who you are, when you're no longer reacting, explaining, or proving, you shift from being someone who seeks attention to someone who commands it. That's not a tactic. That's not a role. That's self-mastery, and it's rare. So stop focusing on how to impress her. Start focusing on how to become unshakable. Because when you live with emotional discipline, purpose, and quiet strength, you won't need to convince her to stay. She'll stay because she feels something around you she can't find anywhere else. Something she doesn't want to lose: you.